Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The time is 4:13 p.m. and the day is May 9th. And I have a special guest in the studio. Oh yeah, I forgot to welcome you to the David Holman podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah. I'm Camerudeboy, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you for having me.
Awesome, man. We're just gonna hop right in here real quick. I usually open us up with prayer. Sometimes I don't. You wanna pray for the podcast real quick, brother?
Yeah. Why not? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this opportunity to have me sit down with David and have a conversation about life. We pray that you bless us with your presence. We just thank you for allowing him to develop this podcast, and we pray that you use it as a tool to reach out to others, and so we give you thanks. So thank you for today, Lord, in Jesus' name.
Amen. Okay, so the discussion guide I have. Oh yeah, so today's message is there is a reason. It's part of the There is a Purpose in Your Pain, I believe, from the topic. It's from the series at Life.Church, from Pastor Craig Groeschel's church out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Anyways, so it starts off with about 4 scriptures before we hop into the discussion guide. And we can go back and forth. There's only 4 of them. I can do one, you can do one, and then we can wrap that out. So the first one is from Luke chapter 22, verses 31 to 32. And it says, it's from the NIV. It says, Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail, and when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. You want to get the next one?
Yeah.
Luke 22, 61.
How about you get the next one and then
okay.
Get the next 2?
No problem. It says so this is Luke 22, chapter 61 verses, Luke chapter 22, verses 61 to 62 from the NIV. And it says, the Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and he wept bitterly. So the last 2 verses are Romans chapter 8, verse 28, and James chapter 1, verses 2 to 4.
Okay.
I think I sent them to you.
Romans 8:28.
Yeah. I mean, you have the Bible app, right? Okay, you do. What version do you use? NIV. So Romans 8:28.
All right, so Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him.
Amen.
Who have been called according to his purpose. I like it.
And then there's James chapter 1, verse 2 to 4.
So you said James 1, 2 to 4.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that one says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face the trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything.
Amen.
I like that one too, man.
Yeah. So the first question asks, has social distancing made anything easier in your life? So what? So I usually like to answer the first question just to kind of like set the tone of what the sharing looks like and how deep you want to go and how surface level you want to keep it. I think for me, as far as social distancing, I think it's made things like this a lot easier for me, because before I wasn't sure if people were actually using technology as much or using the internet as much, or because it seemed as though everybody had other options, and it seemed as though there was like a huge moving away of technology at the time. So I heard that some people were actually beginning to go underground, like off the grid, as far as like not using technology because they just wanted to get away from it. But now, because of social distancing, everybody has had to sort of like get back online, and so it's definitely made social media. It's made connecting via social media and podcasting and just kind of like finding my ground in this particular field a lot easier. Yeah. What about you?
I see the benefits of having it social distances, and like the example that you made for social media. since we have no other option ways to communicate, you know, that becomes the point of communication. So yeah, you do have more people being out there, but to be honest, man, it made things harder for me as far as just life in general, you know. But just life, you know, being able to go out there and be out and enjoy the rest of this world and appreciate. I mean, we do appreciate a lot more about it, but social distances for social media and tech and there's some industries that benefited a lot for that, but in the grand majority of things, man, I don't think I would rather just continue this social distances, you know.
Yeah.
It's human nature to be social.
Right. So the next, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The next question says, now what about the other side? Like, what has social distancing made more difficult for you? So I think you kind of touched on that. You know what I mean? I think for me, what it's kind of made more difficult is before all of the corona, I was going to the gym to try to like put on muscle mass, and I can't go to the gym anymore. So that's pretty much the only thing that it's made more difficult for me. Yeah. So the next question asks us to read Romans chapter 8, verse 28, and I'll go ahead and get that.
Okay.
It says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." The question is, have you ever seen God use a difficult situation for the good of someone, and what happened?
Yeah, man. Many times I've seen it. I've seen it with myself many times. So I would probably use myself because I don't even want to tell someone else's story. But,
Right.
I mean, I've had tragedies that happen to me, and I'm like, why? You know, like, why is this happening? I'm not gonna go into a specific example, but in hindsight, when you look at those things, you realize, you know, a lot of times these things happen to pull you away from things that you were doing, that you were damaging yourself or putting yourself in the wrong situation. So, yeah, man, I've definitely seen the evidence of God being purposeful in my life in many times and many situations.
Yeah. So what happened in particular? If there's anything you don't mind sharing, but it's completely up to you how deep you want to go.
Yeah. All right. I wouldn't mind. So my example is, I mean, I don't even know which example to go with, but I've been in a situation where I felt like I've lost everything. You know, I went to DC. I was trying to better myself. I went out there back to DC to do my tech training and some of the things to get up on that financial ladder. And when I was there, man, I mean, the situation that I had was I had my entire studio. I had everything that I was living with in that space and at that time. And so what happened was one day I'm chilling at the programmer school and I come back to that situation and somebody comes up to us and is like, yo, there's a fire in your neighborhood. And I'm like, what? So on going back to where the fire was, I realized, shit, it's where I was staying.
Oh, snap.
Excuse me for cursing, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've been in that situation where everything you thought you worked for, like, that got burned. Like,
dang, bro.
Yeah, I lost, I mean, this is like $10,000 worth of gear, like, even just on my studio. Then the music I've made for like 6, 7, 8 years, and hard drives and things, and so, you know, you get to that situation where, to me, at that moment in time, bro, it felt like life was just, like, it was just like everything was against me. I was broke. I had my bank empty. Too many things happened, and so I needed to find somewhere to stay. But that made me realize, one, people that were there for me, and two, the distractions that I had. Like, life needs balance, and so I had put so much energy into that one thing that when it got taken away, it felt like I didn't have a purpose anymore. So that then took me away from the balance of life, of being able to balance family, balance friends, structure yourself, taking care of yourself, too many things. And so that kind of forced me to get away from the thing I love the most, and just in hindsight look at life like, okay, what else? That is taking a girl life. How do we keep moving? And so talking to God in that situation, I'm always grateful because of that in perspective and the changes that I wouldn't have realized because I was just so focused on being in that one lane. So like I said, there are many experiences that we have been through. I've personally been through that God uses me. That's just one of the quick ones I want to put out there, but there's so many examples.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for that information. That's definitely very encouraging. So for me, have I ever seen God use a difficult situation for the good of someone, and what happened? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
A difficult situation for the good
of somebody.
Okay, so you believe in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, I don't want to use historical. I'm trying to think of like my own personal, something that I've seen with my two eyes or like been around. Let me think. There's plenty though, but I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to make sure I'm using the right perspective. Don't worry, it'll come. Hold on. A difficult situation for the good of somebody. I would say, well, just to keep it safe, maybe like my sister. When we were back in university together, there was a time when she was like, she's just been through a lot of different difficult situations, and one of the ones in particular I remember was she was campaigning for the Miss Black and Gold beauty pageant. It's a pageant that I think Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity puts on every year, I think, and the winner is crowned Miss Black and Gold or whatever. Needless to say, she won it, but over the process of winning that, there were like so many like hard situations. She felt sick. There was like a lot of pushback from certain people in the organizing committee, and the reason it pops in my head is because I was a first-hand witness to everything, and I was living with her. So I don't know whether God necessarily used that situation, whether He used it for the good of her, but that's just one instance.
So,
and then go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so there's so many stories like your sister's story, right? Mm-hmm. Where you can look at it like, let's say, what is a difficult situation? That's all perspective, right? Mm-hmm. What is difficult to you? So popular example is like, I mean, you see it with athletes all the time, overcoming a situation, cancer and all those things and all that.
Yeah.
So giving hope to those people going through like the similar situations, when you see somebody else come back on the other end and be successful, bro, you see it all the time where it's like somebody going through that situation they need to be able to see that, to know that like, okay, everything is not lost. Like, yeah. So you see it, bro. You see that. I see it a lot, but it's perspective on whether or not it's a difficult situation, and like somebody losing like 9 times and coming back and winning a title. Is that a difficult situation to you? Mm-hmm. Or like an athlete, you feel me? Like LeBron or any of those people losing so many times and then winning one time. Is that that's difficult to them? You know what I mean? Because they put all their life, energy into those things. So for somebody like me, it lets you know like you're not gonna win all the time. Like there's losses, there's challenges that you always have to overcome. And if you're persistent and you believe in you achieve it, because you see them achieve it. So there are many examples, man. But the perspective of difficult situation is always based on that. Yeah. That individual.
Yep.
That's what I think.
I remember the reason why I even brought up my sister's situation was because there was a time when they were doing like the practice and the go-arounds, and she actually fell down on stage and was having like a panic attack or some kind of breathing issue in front of everybody. And so I went down and I was like kind of like praying for her, and which is always, to me, was kind of weird. But anyways, it was a long time ago. So the next question is, according to Craig Groeschel, from pastor of Life Church out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, he says that sometimes God's preparation comes packaged as pain. Be honest. What do you think about that, Detox or Camerudeboy?
Yeah, bro. I agree, bro. Like, you know, sometimes we tend to reward ourselves when we do things. Like we go like, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. And then sometimes God just reminds you like, nah, bro, you need me. Like, okay, you know, this is the situation I'm gonna put you through. You know, or you know you can't do it by yourself. And in those moments, what do you do most of the time? You pray, right?
You go pray now.
You go and pray.
You go out and pray your Bible.
So that's what I'm saying. So he pulls you, but he uses it sometimes when you start getting cocky, like you're like, I can do this, it's my word, and your road going at 150 miles an hour where you can crash like heavily. And so he'll bring a situation, bro, that you just don't understand, and that situation is gonna bring you back and humble you.
That's right.
You feel me? And humble you, and so, but then when you go through that once, twice, 3 times, let's be honest, you become like a vet, right? When dealing with situations, you're like, okay, man, I did this, I did that, okay, that I've been through that, you know, I mean, I've been through worse, if I've been through that, and that, then whatever is coming, like, you know, it's gonna come, it's a storm, but it's gonna pass.
Amen. At
the same time. So what he's saying in that situation is, that's how I feel, is those challenges, it gets you more ready. You know, it gets you, bro, taking so many losses. Me trying to chase music, like, there's been so many situations where it's so challenging, you know, where you're disrespected, promoters, you're embarrassed, too many things that go wrong in trying to accomplish something. But like, when I look back at it now, with the things I know, I'm like, oh wow, if I would have gone through some of those situations, if they fell through, I would have been stuck. I would have been it would have been, you know what I mean, it would have been very different, some of those situations. So yeah, I just feel like, man, he always brings some challenges to you to ground you, man, and keep you in that humble space and keep you coming back, going back to him. And so, because we tend to lose him sometimes when we have so much, you know, like, I mean, great. Sometimes when you're humbled enough, then you learn to take God with you wherever you go. But there's times where we start going like, I'm the one making this happen. I'm the one doing these things in my life, which of course you did the action, but God brought those opportunities, He's put you in some situations, too many things. And so, yeah, man, those challenges always prepare us for becoming the best versions of ourselves sometimes. So I agree with that statement, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So for me, it says that sometimes God's preparation comes packaged as pain. I'm not really certain what I mean, it says, what do I think about that? So I've been taught that God doesn't necessarily have to hurt me in order to teach me a lesson. And specifically, there was an example given by Pastor Joseph Prince out of Singapore, and he said that you wouldn't teach your son not to run in the streets by taking him out into the street and saying, son, lie down, and then taking your car and then running over his foot and breaking his foot, and then saying, just so you learn not to run into the street, I went ahead and taught you that. So I've been taught that God wouldn't do that.
I mean, that's fine, right? So that's one example. But if you have like a baby, and you know, you tell the baby sometimes, like, you have a hot stove, and you're like, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove. And you're gonna burn yourself. But the kid doesn't listen. But you keep seeing that kid trying to touch that stove. Bro, the kid sometimes learns that lesson of not touching the stove after they touch the stove, bro. You feel me? So, I mean, there are many examples. And the principle of what he's saying is, yes, if the kid listened the whole time and didn't touch the stove, he wouldn't burn himself. But did God, like, is there a dad sometimes that was like, okay, this, let him fall down, you know, let him... you know, as parents, they did that. Like, as being African and stuff, they're like, okay, you know what, let him fall down now, he go land. You know, so bro, in principle, yes, if the kid listened the whole time and didn't touch the stove, I think that's what Joseph Prince might be, because it's interpreted, how it's interpreted. But it doesn't mean that God, like, there's many examples, like you say, you don't want to go to the past, but I just brought an everyday example of people parenting that they let.
You can go to the past, bro. Ain't true.
Yeah, but like Job, you know, like.
Oh, yeah, bro.
You feel me?
I was just trying to give like my own real life example, not like Bible.
No, I know. And that's good. And that's wonderful, bro. I like that. But, you know, when these situations happen in the Bible, like, bro, the Bible stories happen every day. They happen every day. Like, you've been through situations where you tell somebody and somebody's like, come on, bro. Like, that's not true. Like, you go through this. Everybody has those situations, and some people worse than others. So, yeah, man, there's many situations where I think, like, it puts you through the pain. Like, if he put his son through the pain, bro, his only begotten son put him through that pain. I think, you know, I think that statement to me, that he wouldn't put you through the pain, I think at times you have to go through the pain, because that's what you need. That's gonna prepare you for whatever the storm is to come. But if you are spoiled, man, if you are spoiled all your life, you already know you can't handle. They drop you in the hood, you can't handle it. You feel me? So,
come on, man.
Like, let me put it this way. How about now? Us Africans right now, right? I bet we are more mentally prepared to handle this social distancing than a lot of Americans. Not because they don't go through hard situations, but as an African, bro,
which lights do you want to be using to do all the extra? And we've already been living life like, without, you know. We've been through. At least my experience.
Yeah, you're prepared, but you're like, they're gonna let me stay and work at my house. I'll wake up in the morning and like you start looking at it like from that perspective. Whereas some people they're like, yo, what do I do with my life? Like, you have your podcast, bro. You're already progressive. Some people that like, yo, like my job is my life.
Oh
like,
man,
you feel me? Some people, because purpose can mean a lot. You know, it can mean a lot of things. So for them, people, their job was they felt like was their purpose, and everybody wants to be like your goal in life is to be working while doing while you feel like it's your purpose, right? If you were gonna do this podcast and it becomes big, and then you start getting the money is coming in, like,
amen.
Yeah, bro. You see how they claim it, like. so those things, like when you feel like your job is your purpose. Now imagine if you lose that. You know. So
back to basics, prayer,
bro. So the situations of Africans that were being us, like we've struggled so many times. Like it prepared us for social distance. Like people back home, bro. Some people they wake up, they go and look at their yard.
That's it now,
bro. Like
because as you were saying that, I was remembering like when I was a child living in Lagos. Like, you know, there was many times I lived in like Ikeja, and in my estate for some reason, man, we would go for like months with no light, bro. You know what I'm saying, my nigga? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I'm supposedly living in like, I'm supposed to be living in like the posh part, but we wouldn't have light, my nigga. You want to talk about social distancing and Nigeria, waking up and like just looking at ourselves, trying to figure out what to do with our lives. We're just looking, playing cards, you know, telling stories, no electricity, bro. And my mom, because I grew up with my mother at the time, no generator, so no light, my nigga.
Yeah.
So we had to like kind of like figure out what to do and how to live our lives without, just without all the extra distractions.
I just came back from Africa, like in South Africa. South Africa is like it's like the first third world country. It's like the first of the third. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. It's amazing. And so for like 3 days, we're having a blast. And then in the middle of us talking, partying.
Oh, they take light in South Africa?
Bro, hourly. They have a schedule, bro. They had a schedule.
Are you serious?
Bro, they'll tell them too.
Okay, they tell. I heard they do that now in Lagos too.
From 2 to 4.
It's gonna be gone. Wow.
And then sometime at 8 o'clock too. They didn't tell you about that one. They took it at 8 o'clock. Nah, but it was a great experience.
Oh, that's good.
At the same time, like, this is what happens. So we're having a conversation and the light goes out and the guy that is in South Africa we're chilling with, he just takes his phone, put his flashlight and just put it right there and keeps talking.
Yeah.
And keeps talking. And I'm sitting there like, guy, like, I'm looking around me like, okay, we can't do this. The guy just puts out the thing and he doesn't, you know, because he's prepared, bro.
Yeah.
You know, so it happens. This example is every day, bro. That's a difficult time, bro, to not be without light. Like people on dialysis machines, bro.
Damn.
It's bad in Africa. You feel me? Like, you know, if you're a hospital and you don't have a generator, like people on dialysis goes down. People on heart. These things we don't really think about in hindsight. Like, it's really bad, but at the same time, Africans are more prepared for what just came now. Like, they mentally.
Oh my damn.
Mentally.
Guy, I'm so fucking pissed at Africa, bro. Like a lot of times when all these things happen, I get so happy because it makes me feel like our leaders have to wake up now. Like, just when shit happens like this, bro, it makes me happy because it makes me feel that I at least hope that our leaders will wake up. You understand?
The leaders themselves. The problem is, sure, you want that. You see, you're even saying that they should go through this so that they can
understand.
Yeah, but at the same time, yeah, of course, there's some level of difficulty, but I know leaders right now that is like, oh, we about to get this WHO money. Like, come on now.
So fucked up, bro.
Am I lying?
Yeah, bro. You're not lying, man.
Like, there are people there, like, they already
go share this chick, man. They're patting themselves on the back.
You don't see picture of everybody working from home. Like, what are you saying, bro? Like, we're about to get to. That's the
collect
problem.
This corona money, man.
You know, the truth about it is this, man. I believe we all know that, okay, it's Africa's fault, but the truth is that
you're gonna blame the white man now.
I'm not. Yes, yes, bro. Because they will not let us pick. They're not gonna let us pick our right leaders. Well, don't tell me we as the people pick a lot of these leaders. That's a lie. And if we could have it our way, like my president has been in power for 38 years, bro, and he wins the election every time. Like, imagine you're staying in somebody's house because
38 years.
Our country is his house now. So imagine you're staying in our 38 years, bro.
Like, mad,
bro.
Go and go somewhere.
You feel
38
me?
years.
So now, like, citizens don't protest past. We don't complain past. We don't. You don't rig election pass, like, and we as a people have gone through with UN. The guy changed the constitution and nothing happened.
This Camerudeboy.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example, bro. But now you look in a situation where Gbagbo in Ivory Coast.
What's going on there?
Well, this one passed, but he was a leader in Ivory Coast that refused to renew the contracts of like exporting cocoa because they had export contracts and everything like across. And he's like, I'm not to say I support the guy and everything because I don't know what kind of leader he really is, but I know at some point he was like, oh, I don't want to export cocoa anymore to the world. You feel me? I want to export at a higher rate. And what happened to him? They ousted him.
For real?
Yeah, they ousted him.
Damn.
Bro, you should have watched CNN, bro. You would have wanted the guy out to like get him out, man. Like, you feel me? Like you should have watched the news. Like they.
Yo, I heard about there was some craziness going on in Ivory Coast, right? Was that what was going
you
on?
always see it now. They package it so that they gain your support. Like Gaddafi, nobody can tell me now that Gaddafi, I don't know about him as a human being and his acts, but as a leader and to have a voice for Africa, he was like one of the only two people that could talk and had a voice and had money and had power and had influence and had all those things. And bro, I wanted him out, bro. They at the point where I wasn't really thinking what is good for Africa, I was like, get him out. That guy, and they got him out. And Libya now, the country that they've got him out since Obama's days, like that country is the slave trade is way worse than whatever it was, like way worse.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going on? Who knows what happened to their oil? Who knows? Bro, you know what I'm saying? It's horrible now. They're not getting the next person out. He's still there. Whoever is there right now, like that's. So, my point is that good leaders, if you study African revolutionary, like Sankara, you know about Thomas Sankara, right?
Who?
Thomas. Okay. Good leaders in Africa, they always they get ousted. If you're a good leader in Africa, that's why I blame the world. It's not to say that the leaders we have cannot do better for their people, they can. But we as a people really don't have a choice who we put in that position. You feel me? Like there's no leader in Africa that I think that the people choose and then like they can change him like whenever they want. Like nah. Look at what Buhari did in your country, bro. He woke up and flex and moved the election 1 week. He said, no election. Bro, like what? What? You know what I'm saying? Like, those are all violations if you ask, so.
When did he move the election 1 week? Like when? Like,
you don't remember? I would think you know, but yeah, man, in Nigeria, you guys had your elections and they postponed the election, bro.
Because of COVID-19 or just?
No.
This is before
This is way before all this. This is like 2 years ago. When last Nigeria election was like, well, you guys, the last time he postponed.
He just said, yeah, man, not today.
Not today, bro. Like, I'm not feeling good. Like, like, you feel me? So the reality is that there's no accountability in the UN. Right? I don't believe in it personally. I believe, yes, there should be a UN. There should be a body. The things is there, but I feel like the system is way too broken. And everybody is just looking at Africa now like, that's opportunity, man. Let me go get my piece of the pie. That's how the rest of the world looks at Africa. Like, how do I get my piece of? Because it looks like there's no law there, there's no structure, there's no political system.
Man, nigga, there's nothing there,
exactly.
bro. What do you mean?
No.
That's a lawless fucking continent, bro.
There's everything.
Ain't
there.
shit. No, there's shit there, but like as far as law and structure, who's holding who accountable?
How? My point is, so how do you? And I hope we didn't sidetrack from the rest of today's program.
No, we still got.
Good. I'm good here to talk, whenever you need to. But, bro, how do you like? There's everything in Africa.
What do you mean everything? I'm talking about specifically structure and like law and order.
That's why they make sure there's no law and order in Africa.
That's what I mean. Like there's no.
They make sure there's no law and order.
Name one country in Africa that has accountability.
Accountability
and law and order.
Right now, maybe Rwanda.
Maybe I heard about.
And the one and there's already
place is looking nice,
there's already a campaign to get him out.
That place is looking nice. You know Martin now, right?
Yeah,
he just got back. He just got back from Rwanda. He sent me pictures, bro. The pictures. The place is looking nice, bro.
Let me tell you this. Rwanda went through a genocide in the 1990s.
Yeah.
So Nigeria, the excuse is we're only 50 years old. Like Rwanda went through a genocide, and South Africa gained its independence, like from apartheid and everything in the 90s.
So you're saying that they're trying to oust the current leader
I'm
of
saying
Rwanda right now?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's propaganda out already. You know,
Okay.
I'm not gonna make those accusations before you know, but there's already propaganda out like he's a tyrant. You know,
Oh, real?
Bro.
And Martin was telling me that Rwanda is officially the cleanest country in Africa. Because the pictures he sent, I was like, damn, bro.
They created
nice.
an NBA. They created the first national basketball league in Africa, bro. Rwanda.
Okay.
So guess what? All the athletes they have the best students. If you want to go get a good education like in Africa without living, go to Rwanda, bro. They have their education. They're doing things that you should be doing with less money than some of these West African countries.
What's another country that you think that has law and order and accountability?
I mean, in Africa, there's not many. You know, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, there are amazing countries in Africa.
Like, do you know I could this is gonna sound bad,
Okay,
but I can go to Nigeria and I know that if I kill somebody, I know I can get away with it, right?
Bruh,
So that's what I mean. Like, it's ridiculous.
What about the United States, man? Do you think?
Nah.
No, let me ask you.
It'll be harder, bro.
I know, but the question is, do you think there's? Because based on what I've seen over the last 8 years of my life, man, there's not that much law, order, and accountability in the United States.
But most times when that happens, it's an anomaly, though. It's not like the norm.
How?
For the average crime, the person will be held accountable.
Exactly.
But for the average one,
I mean, in
Nigeria or Cameroon, the average crime, you resource the police and you're good to go.
Because if you have the enough, I'm sure you can resource the police here. Like the guy that just got shot while jogging.
Ahmad Ari.
Yeah, well, he didn't. It happened in February.
Yeah.
So 2 months ago. So they hadn't arrested these other guys even for questioning and putting, before you invest, they haven't arrested them till now. And it just came out that the reason is because the DA stopped them from arresting them because one of them used to work at the DA office.
Yeah, I read about that.
So
they had to recuse themselves from the case too.
Now they did, but my point is, they stopped somebody in a crime from making a valid arrest because of personal. That sounds like at a low level. The reason we know of this crime is because there was a video out there and it came out.
So if not for the video,
bro, people get killed every day, bro, in America, right? And people are getting away.
It's crazy.
I just want you to just be like, man. I was saying on Facebook the other day, in Africa we call corruption blatant corruption. In America we say lobby, and it sounds so much nicer. Right?
Yeah.
These are lobbies. Nah, that's corruption, bro. You're paying politicians to change policy. That's corruption. But it's lobbying. So when they say that guy is lobbying for social, you don't even think of it like he's doing a bad thing. You're like, yeah, whatever, bro. It's a lobby. So there's corruption, bro, here and in Africa too. But the point in Africa is that they have. Yes, I could blame Africa and say it's Africa's fault, but the truth is, the average African wants to change for the better. They want a better change for themselves.
Of course,
if it was up to them,
you don't suffer,
exactly.
You don't want to change.
So if it was up to them, they will make the change. But somehow there are principalities that is not allowing those things to happen. So
principalities and powers.
Well, shit.
Pray.
We do pray, man. We're Africa, we pray past everybody, man.
Yeah, bro.
Come on, man. We pray. But man, I mean, I just hope at your level and my level, you can help make a change. You know what I'm saying? That's everybody want to point at the big arguments, but change somebody's life, man. What you're doing now. Who knows who could be listening to this podcast at a certain point during the day, and then that one thing you say or somebody says gives them that change. So do your part, bro.
All right.
That's what everybody thinks.
So moving on to the next question, it says, how might seeing God's purpose behind your pain change your experience of pain? So I think for me, whenever I'm going through some pain or something, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to see God's purpose in particular. But when I'm going through pain, a lot of times when I'm going through pain, I'm thinking of the reason of the pain, and I'm looking at it as it's not necessarily God that's bringing the pain. I'm going through the pain because I live in a fallen world. So that's kind of that changes my experience of the pain. And so, what about you? How might seeing God's purpose behind your pain, your experience of the pain?
I mean, bro, I remember one time, bro, I was reckless. Like, not that I was completely reckless, because I have some moral grounding being African and being, you know. But at some point, I was living life like YOLO. Like, you feel me? Like, and things were good and all that type of stuff. And then I just felt sick, bro. I got sick. Like, I was like, I couldn't do as much or do things. And then, you know, bro, at that moment in time, bro, it made me look at why I'm doing things, not just go ahead and say, hey, I just want to, you know, you're just moving, you're not really thinking. So I always look back at it, pain, man, sometimes, and I look at how it shaped me and perspective and how it lets me see things. Sometimes if you don't go through that pain, bro, the truth is, bro, you will not, like black people say, bro, if you're not black, bro, you don't really know. You ain't been pulled over by the cops and you fear for your life. Like, bro, when the cop pull you over now, I don't know about you, my hands are like holding the steering.
What do they say, 1 and 2 or?
Bro, that's 6, how you are.
9, 10, 11, 11 and 2 or 11 and
11 where you just keep them there so you can see.
For sure, nigga.
You think white people think like that?
Hell no.
So,
officer, is there a problem, officer?
Yeah.
Is there a problem? You pulling me over, officer?
It's funny. But nah, bro, like, and yeah, they got, I'm sure they got their pain, and we have common pain that we all go through, but like, bro, like, there's a purpose as a black man. Like, I do have some purpose to stand up for black people because we are suppressed, bro. Like, you always look at it and somebody said, you cannot go through my pain, so you won't understand. You never been through it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you were talking about the light thing, like, man, there's no lights and this is like, you know the pain.
Yeah, it sucks.
You're telling a guy like, oh, so your power went out? That's why some other guy would be telling you that from America that has had light throughout their life. Oh, you guys lost power?
Lights.
Like, no, bro, like, I had exams.
My nigga.
I had exams I had to study for, and like, I had to use a lamp to read or flashlight or candle or something, bro, to go. Like, that's what I had an exam the next day. The exam did not stop because there was no power. You know, in America you tell your professor like, yeah, we lost power, so I couldn't submit my assignment and all that. In Africa, try it.
Yeah.
Why did you not submit it before? Like,
mind them.
So, bro, the challenges are there, man. But I don't know. When was the last time you went back, man?
Nigeria.
Africa, like.
Or Africa in general. Usually when I'm going home, it's Nigeria I go to.
Have you been anywhere else?
I went to school in the Republic of Benin in Benin Republic, Cotonou.
Man, those guys, man, they do me something there, bro.
Really? What happened?
Yeah, I went to Benin and I had a show. So I had a show there, and I had already bought my fit like for the show. Like, before I left in
was it Cotonou or?
Yeah, Cotonou.
Where are you supposed to perform? Stade de l'Amitié?
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is. It was like 30,000. It was a lot of people.
Oh damn!
Amazing, big huge show. Was, I mean, back then, you know what I'm saying? It was bracket. It was guys that were doing many different artists that came out. So I had a show in Togo, and then we drove from Togo to Cotonou.
Dang, bro.
And that coastline, the beach, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we get to Cotonou, Benin, and like, you know, you can see the Togolese cops, like, they don't have muscles like that.
Yeah, we'll collect money now.
Yeah, but you get to the Benin cops like, the guys are flexing, they're walking out like the Benin cops. You see that, you're like, alright, this I should be afraid of this guy.
The Benin police?
Yeah.
Dang,
well, the military. I don't know if it was military or police, but he had an AK. He had AKs.
Of course now, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like normal police don't have AKs. You know. So anyhow.
Bro, Nigerian police have AKs, though, but go ahead.
Not normal, not everyday police.
All of them, bro.
Nah, bro, there are police in Nigeria that don't have AKs.
Well, even though some of
them.
them.
Tell the truth.
I mean, no, they all have guns, bro. They all have AKs, bro.
Bro, there are police that
unless what I'm calling AK is not AK, but they all have that long one, the rifle with the stick like that. They all do, bro.
All military in Nigeria.
All of any police,
military.
all of police, military, all of them. Whenever you see them, they all have that gun, and their hand is always on it, and there's always misfire.
So you mean to tell me that, like, let's not talk about Lagos. Let's just go somewhere random.
Yeah.
And the little checkpoint there that the guy.
They all have gun. Yeah.
All of them,
bro.
That's crazy.
It's fucked up, man. They always fire sometimes after they've been drinking. They'll fire somebody and then there'll be a whole bunch of Instagram wahala. And
I tell you the truth, like the military guys, they don't complain. Because
we don't really see military like that too. It's only during like military regime or something that the military will not come out. But for now, it's still civilian government. So
I don't know what you mean by military. So when I say military, right, I just mean like military is the I thought that was the general term for like.
No, military are the ones that are in camo. Then the police are the regular police now.
So what is army?
Army is military.
Okay. You're right. Come to think of it, you're right. Yeah. So, but anyhow, in Africa you have police. That
but you saw customs. It's probably customs.
Customs and all those people. They have guns too.
At the border, I don't remember, man. But when I used to cross into Cotonou all the time, they wore that brown. The police always wore that brown, and they always had big belly, and all they wanted was money. Okay, so you're saying now they're big and buff and scary?
No. I'm saying I saw those too, but I'm saying the one that stopped us and he told us get out the car, bro. He searched our whole car and everything.
Who are you with?
I was with my managers. I mean, we just came from Togo.
Yeah.
We're foreigners, you know what I'm saying? So they'll milk it, you know what I'm saying? They will do the whole packaging, like, unless you are local. So we went to they stopped us and they opened my clothes and I had the cameo, bro. I got like Chicago.
Wait, you had military clothes? You had
no. I had a nice Chicago Bulls hat.
Oh, okay.
That was cameo, but it was a Bulls hat, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And it was. I had paid like $40 for what I had, so I bought like a cameo bottom to go with it.
Yeah. And wait, when you're saying cameo, you're talking about the camouflage?
Camouflage.
Hey, and the military saw that? Okay, go on though. I don't know where you're going with this, but go on.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know the rules in Africa.
Don't wear that shit.
I wasn't wearing it. You know, listen. I wasn't wearing it. It was my show outfit.
You're still not supposed to do that at the show, bro.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Show man, bro. It's a show.
All right.
After you'd have shaken hands with all the police at the show, they'll know like, okay, your show. You feel me? Like,
so what happened now?
I wore it on stage in a different stage. I wore it in a different country. You feel me? So in Benin, that was my show outfit. Collect like $200 for that outfit, bro. The guy looked at me. He knows damn well that that's not their military. He don't even correlate with their military stuff. So after he searched the whole car, I couldn't find anything. You know, I saw that outfit, like the bottom, the shirt, and the hat, like everything packaging. Like I say, I don't cash them. That's where I'm gonna get them. So he collect bribe, and then he collect. After he collected bribe, I'm cool, but then he collect my outfit on top of that, bro.
That's fucked up.
Bro, I had to wear something else. Like it was, I will never forget that, man. I got in Benin, like they, man.
Yeah, I went to school there. All right, that moves us to our next question. It says, what pain or struggle are you currently experiencing? So I think for me,
COVID.
The pain or struggle the COVID, I'm cool with that. Nothing has really changed for me.
Oh Lord,
the struggle
be here right now. Yeah, that's not a good thing to say. Nothing has changed.
I mean, like I said,
you're not social distancing. You're not washing your hands when you go to this.
I was already doing that stuff.
Bro, like
I was already doing that.
Somebody cough, you won't look.
No, I mean, it's like things are different, but not enough to where I'm like, I'm really.
At least you're not
ashamed.
following social distancing.
The thing is, I was already doing it. The thing is, I was already like not going out as much. I was staying home. I was just going to like, just. I was trying to better my life, so I wasn't.
I get
doing
it.
all
I
the
get,
other
but
stuff.
the thing is, it's not even about that. Like myself, everybody gets to that stage where it's like, let me figure what I gotta do. You know what I mean? Everything else is distraction.
Exactly.
I get it,
secondary.
but you had the option.
Yeah.
That option when you don't, or when there's something out there,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like I'm by myself, right? Like, but then the other day I saw like a bunch of people that like I haven't seen, and I just felt like unsafe. Bro. I was like if it's one person like me and you,
That nigga, where'd you go? You went to Yomi's house.
Nah. I don't ride. I went there one time. I had my mask on and everything. I had my mask on. I was like, Yomi, what's up, man? I hope you guys think. Yomi was like, this is a safe place. I'm like, no, it's not. I like, there's one place that's not safe.
Hell no.
This ain't a safe place.
But as I was saying, man, I'm trying to set up my business, right? And I got a to-do list on there. It says establish payroll system, register on sam.gov, and then I'm trying to add some background music to like a bunch of the episodes that I've recorded in the background. So the main struggle that I'm really having right now, is getting the fucking music to not be too loud to like overcome like the interview, like, you know what I'm saying? But I'll definitely figure that out when you leave here. But the one that I probably should talk about so I don't go crazy is, I've never really started my own business before, and I'm just like kind of like struggling with the confidence and the belief to believe in myself and the belief that I'll be able to like secure the funding and just do everything right. Because I've started my own business, I've incorporated it, I'm taking all the steps, I've got my own employee identification number so I can hire people. And so it's just a little scary, waking up every morning, not working for anybody else, working for myself. So that's the struggle that I'm currently feeling. I'm experiencing right now. It's just self-confidence and confidence in God, and that it'll all work out. But the main one is payroll and getting the money to finance it, and then establishing a budget. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Anybody that tries to start a business, man, you've never done it. Some people, they just know how to do it, or they have the resources. So the problem is usually the resources or the information, right? Where to get the information. So I would, for like your situation, I would probably say reach out to people that like have functioning, running businesses, and that just tell them, hey, and if you try to do it and don't reach out to those resources, it gets much more difficult than it actually could be. Like you said, all the other things that you're talking about, getting the ID, I don't know if you Googled it and did all that, or somebody assisted and do all that, but the resource, using the people that around you that are in business that you can reach and have that point of contact, man, reach out to them, bro. You'd be surprised like what information you can get and apply to your stuff. So for my situation, like, yeah, man, the silver lining in COVID was, so I've been trying to figure things out myself, right? And I do have my own business in a sense, like, even Truly Blessed has been a business for a long time. It not only that, dealing with like schools when you do shows, dealing with like organizations, how you file that, taxes, all those things is difficult, for sure. So I get what you're saying, but COVID kind of just let me stop working. I never had the time to put into my business like that. So I work 9 to 5, like for a tech firm, and going into work every day, Monday to Friday. By the time you're going at 9 o'clock, the bank or wherever you need is not open. And then when you come back at 5 o'clock, it's closed. So like the things that you needed to get done, you keep postponing it, like, so COVID let me work from home, man. So I have like, a lot of time and energy to put into strategizing for your business. Like you said, setting goals, targets, and then being able to go and meet and get those accomplishments. So I have those same challenges, man, in business, and not knowing how to, or not knowing who, bro, how do I get a business loan now, bro? That is gonna, like, if you tell somebody, what kind of business are you doing? Like, oh, yeah, a label. Oh, a label. Like, you think the bank just wants to hand you that kind of, you know what I mean? How do you find the resources? How do you get the sponsorship that you need? How do you, because it's a high capital business, and it's not an immediate return. Music is not like that. You feel me? It's like you put in a lot of money, but then it's not like you collect that immediately, versus another business where it's like the money is coming in as just like you're putting it. So I have those same challenges too, man. But especially with COVID, it's just now having the time, not being able to go out there, like banks being closed on the inside. They still closed, but I know like the drive-through, the banks don't only drive-through. And so how do I go and sit down and talk about getting a business loan in the drive-through? Those things. So COVID closes the businesses that have been closed. They make it difficult for me, and then trying to change of environment sometimes it helps, keeps your mind at fresh. Being in the house all day, sometimes you won't get over the hump, so you kind of need to go away. And like coming here, man, when I probably go home, I probably feel more refreshed, just being able to have conversations and sharing ideas. And so those are the things I struggle with right now. But in the grand scheme of things, it provided me with the opportunity to be able to spend more time on my business.
So thanks, man. You mentioned something about like the bank loans, and kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit more. I know that the Trump administration, along with Congress, I believe, they put out a bunch of money. We're supposed to be able to get those loans. I'm curious, a business like mine, and also I heard about Truly Blessed. I had a boss on here, and he had told me that you started the business back in the day.
Yeah.
And anyways, but right now, how do we get that money, that's the loans?
So we're talking about accountability in this country, bro.
They say all those guys, they don't chop them.
They don't chop them, bro. Bro, like, let me say this is the truth, because I do have a business. I've already registered my account and everything and all that. Like 1, 2, 3 days, like I was like, yo, snap! Because my studio is affected. I can't have any sessions. I can't have people come in and out, and I've invested all this money on this gear. So these are all losses at this point, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my business. I'm running it every day. There's no money coming in at this time, and artists cannot do shows. Nothing at club if you're doing money. So our businesses suffer too. So I was thinking like, okay, I will see what opportunities are there for me, what I can apply for. But like 2 days into that thing, the bank sent me a note and says, we are not accepting anymore. Like 2 days after they announced that, the bank. So the government is telling me, for a small business like myself, they have created these bank opportunities that I can go, and then the bank is telling me like they are full capacity, they cannot push. So where does that leave me? That's my point, bro. Like, what accountability is there? And then there are businesses that are in violation of those policies that when I chop all the money, how are they gonna get punished? So bro, this is the greatest country in the world. Man, you know what? After a few of these things, bro, COVID don't make me relax a bit with Africa, because I feel like America we're packaging a lot. Like, you feel me? We're doing a lot of packaging, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, even in America, especially when a pandemic, and just showing how unprepared we were to do 30 million people unemployed. The corporate world already got a bailout, right? So they've already balanced their checkbooks for the year. If you're Fortune 500 company, like the government has already bailed you out off the top. We're talking about almost trillions of dollars. And then the 350 billion that they left for us, like those big companies came and ate it again. And now they still have 30 million people unemployed. I thought the point of the bailout was to make sure that we don't have 30 million people unemployed. What do you think about that, bro? Like, you feel me? Is it working? Is the system working?
I don't know. I did hear that the bigger companies have already balanced their checkbooks. And I did hear that on the news actually.
They do. They got the bailout for off the top. Like
yeah,
1 week after they just say pandemic, they got a bailout, which I'm cool with because the incentive was they need a bailout so that they don't fire all these people. But here we are with 30 million people without jobs in America and more losing their jobs as we speak. And then there's no money for small businesses like us. And then there's like, what's the accountability, bro? Like, you feel me? That $1,200 check, if you were lucky or unlucky, I don't know how you want to see it perspective wise. If you got that $1,200, like that's 1 month rent.
If that.
We're 2.5 months into this pandemic. So I don't know, man. I just feel like, bro, we need to restructure the system, bro. Like, it's not the first time, bro. The housing crash in 2008, gas was like $5. The average, bro, you remember back then, bro, like, imagine, like, bro, you feel me? Like, it's even better now. Like,
I got arrested that year. I sat in jail for like 6 months, bro, because I tried to steal gas. I swear, bro.
See, was that
I
bad?
pumped gas and I ran.
See, is that
I sat in jail for like...
Bro, you pump, check this out. You pump gas and you ran. It's okay. You pump gas and you ran.
Yeah.
You sat in jail for 6 months.
But I was drunk though. I got a DUI.
And you were drunk.
I was drunk.
You sat in jail for 6 months.
Yeah, bro.
Somebody shot somebody. I didn't go to jail for 2 months.
Well, don't get me wrong though. I sat in jail for like 1 month. And then I got out, and then I got arrested for another DUI, and I was sat for 6 months because I was already on bail and
the
shit.
fact is, you stole gas. Okay, you didn't kill nobody, bro.
Right.
You feel me? Like, look at how the pun. And I bet if you were not smart enough to get a lawyer, bro, it could have been like.
Yeah, I got a lawyer.
You saw all this collusion. Like, I know we need to talk about that before I leave, man. Why you're voting Democrat?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'll let you bring that up when you're ready. But my point is that we're seeing so many people like these guys that are getting prosecuted for collusion. They getting 2 years, 1 year. Like treason, you getting 2 years, 1 year, 4 years, and like I know people on the block that sold weed that like getting 8 years and 9 years and 10 years, bro. So. What is going on, bro? Like, this is treason we're talking about. This is like, you feel me? I don't know. I always look at those things like yeah. Somebody tells me like the American system doesn't need more fixing because it might be broken, but it's still better than what we have in Africa. Yes, but it's still broken. Like, it's still about money. Even in Africa, like. If you're rich in Africa, bro, the system is great. Like, some people, they're rich, no, they love the system. They can get away with taxes. They can get away with everything. If you're rich in Africa, Africa is great, man. If you are poor or maybe middle class, which there's not many middle class, Africa is tough. Like, it's really, really bad. Yeah.
So, FYI, ladies and gentlemen, and for all my listeners, so I'm not allowed to talk about or influence politics, and so I can't say or state whether or not I will be voting Democrat or Republican. Or whether I will be participating in the election. I probably can say I'm participating, but just so I don't lose my non-for-profit status. So
okay,
yeah,
I see.
it's non-profit status. So,
but how is that gonna be because you're gonna be influencing your audience
yeah,
in a way.
Yeah. So I can't say if I'll be voting Democrat or Republican, but we can definitely talk politics. But I'm not. So he previously stated that I was voting Democrat, and I just want I want to say that
I don't know.
I want to say that I can't say yes or no if I'll be voting Democrat or not.
All right, my apologies, man. I didn't know this, but yeah, man. My bad. I don't know what he's really gonna vote. To be honest, just to clarify, he might go out there and say he's voting Democrat and then cast his vote Republican. Who knows? Only him is gonna know. So regardless of what, just to put.
We can definitely. I'll tell you what I'm doing outside the podcast. Yeah. But okay, so the next question is, how can you start viewing your pain from the perspective of purpose? And what would that look like for you? So I think for me, so the particular struggle that I mentioned are just the growing pangs of starting your own business and getting established and all that stuff. I basically think that if I can view this struggle and all that from the perspective of growth, that's going to be beneficial for me. So this is teaching me to reach out and ask for help and talk to people and to do research and actually more action and less talk. And I think the end result is going to be a very good and successful business that people want to look at and replicate. And FYI, I'm open to working with anybody who's in the industry, so please reach out and let's combine heads. What about you, Detox? How can you start viewing your pain from the perspective of purpose? And what would that look like for you?
Okay, man. There's a common word that we keep hearing in there: purpose. So, at least for me, you, I would want to know also while on the show, what you think the purpose is for all this. And I know you say it all the time, but how your pain relates to what you're doing right now. But for me, purpose. Okay, if you've identified your purpose and you go through pain as that journey, what you want to do is, bro, nobody wants to go through that pain twice. Like, you understand? So, and if that pain hinders your purpose, you will try to do your best to avoid that pain. You know what I'm saying? So, which might be, like you said, taking action, making the necessary changes so that you don't experience that pain anymore, so that you can continue and fulfill your purpose. So, like with me, my situation is like trying to be an up-and-coming artist, or being an artist and going out there looking for opportunities. I was close. I mean, I did a lot of things that got me close, and so where I always lacked was I didn't have the money. Like, you understand? Like, you can drop a video, right? As you're a good artist, Davido is a good artist. You drop a video. Davido's video is better. He has a bigger budget. He has more people on payroll. He has more plugs. He can get access to more plugs. He has a white. You're already at that disadvantage.
Yeah.
And then as an up-and-coming artist, you're looking for respect. You have promoters that don't respect you, DJs that don't. These are things. These are things people face, like up-and-coming artists really face.
Yeah.
Or they don't take you seriously, or you need to do something to get to that next level. You don't have cash coming in, right? Because they ain't trying to pay you for shows. They ain't trying to pay you for a lot. Like there's too much. You're not proven. Like, why should I pay you? That's their perspective. But at the same time, when you go through all those things, that was pain for me because I knew what I wanted. I wanted my music to get out there to the world. I wanted to make change and impact and be on platforms and meet people that I can interact with and bring change to my community. I had my own ideology for when I got to the top. But what kept stopping me was money.
Mm-hmm.
So it was painful being broke and being an up and coming. It's a painful thing, bro. Being broke and doing anything is painful.
Yeah, I agree.
Being broke and being an up and coming artist, man, it's a big, it's a little, yeah, because everybody gets to see that. Like if you are not an artist, you're not putting yourself in the public, right? So you can do your thing, you suffer yourself, nobody they see you. So, but as an artist, like you suffer, everybody kind of gets to see it because they, and you're up. The people that know you, it's painful. That's my point.
Yeah.
So what I learned along the way was, I kept depending. People would say, "Oh, I'll sponsor you. I'll do this. I'll do that for you. I'll do that." And that dependability of needing that money to fulfill my purpose allowed me to depend on people, which led to failures because people wouldn't drop the bread. They wouldn't really do it.
Yeah.
So what did I have to do? I had to go ahead and make changes and make sure I was financially independent to where I'm not depending on somebody else, to where like us, like Abbas probably told you from the last time as a business and how we're running, we're doing venturing into other things. He's doing like film, doing like, getting video equipment, not only audio equipment, the expenses is overwhelming, bro. Mm-hmm. So I had to put myself in that position where I'm financially independent, where I can put my bread and do what, and if I want to shoot, I'm not letting money get in the way. If I want to do something, I'm not letting. So getting that financial independence was a challenge and it was painful. That I'm not saying I'm rich, but at least now it's not as painful, bro. Like
right.
Now like I can at least take a few of those hits and finances are much better now. So I needed to go through some of those challenges and then figure out a way so that the next time that pain will not hinder me. The pain of being broke is not going to be the reason why I don't get those same opportunities as those other artists.
Yeah, man. Thanks for that.
Just a little example.
Thanks for that. So we're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank my man Detox for coming in this evening. Can you tell my listeners like how to find you online and how to reach out to you and your organization?
Yeah, you can look for me at Camerudeboy. Camerudeboy, Camerudeboy. Camerudeboy. On all platforms, Facebook.com, Camerudeboy, Instagram, Camerudeboy, Twitter, Camerudeboy, Snapchat, Camerudeboy. So look me up there. If you want to know more about my business, Truly Blessed Entertainment, and our music and what we do, and go online, look for Truly Blessed Entertainment, Facebook.com/Truly Blessed Entertainment, Instagram, all the major platforms, man. I do appreciate you for having me here, though, man. Thank you. Anytime, man. You want to pray us out of here, bro? I know, man. Since I prayed us in, man, I'll let you pray us out. All right, Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity to gather today under one voice, and we just give you all the praise and all the glory. We thank you for technology. We thank you for our listeners, and we just ask that our listeners would gain from this and that their lives would be changed and that it would not be the same as when they started listening to the podcast, that their lives would be better. We just pray for this COVID-19 crisis to go away and for them to develop a vaccine soon enough and a treatment for it. And we just pray for all the small businesses and individuals that are going through hard times, and that there would be relief and quick relief in the mighty name of Jesus. And we give you the glory. Amen. Thanks for listening, guys. Remember, this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. You can listen to it directly from the website Podbean and wherever else you get your podcasts, and click on subscribe. Bye, guys. Peace.